home of the world's greatest fan base in all of sports. Amazing Met Zone proudly presents Friends of Flushing. With your host, Styles Unique, Amazing Camren, Drubinati 82, Drodo 4492, Phil from Shirley, along with Hirsh Does Things. Tonight's guest, former Major League pitcher Trevor May. And it all starts right now.
Hey, Trevor, thank you for joining us here on Friends of Flushing, presented by Amazing Met Zone. We really appreciate you taking your time out and joining us. We're just going to have a little fun conversation. We have some questions from viewers and followers, questions from ourselves and the guys over here at Amazing Met Zone.
Yeah, first of all, Trevor, this is an absolute thrill. And today, actually, when we're taping this, the MLB owners voted to move the Oakland Athletics organization to Las Vegas, and I know you were with them this past season. Can you give us your thoughts on the move and everything?
Yeah, I understand that these things happen. We can debate like the reasons all day. There's a lot of conversations about whether or not the funding was there or not there, if the goalposts were constantly being moved by the person asking for the money so that they didn't actually have to do it. Like, a lot of people have opinions on that, and it's hard to know what's true and what isn't because we weren't in the rooms for these things. So it's hard for me to say like you shouldn't move the team because I actually don't feel like I have a grasp of the economics of the situation, and I understand that as a large part of it, especially with the way TV deals are changing and all kind of stuff. I get it. But that said, it's the fact that these things are like, as soon as they are mentioned, it's a foregone conclusion that it's going to happen because because you assume that there's more money made because that's the only reason they want to do it, because that's why decisions are made that way. Like, there's been very little, I think in the recent years, very little dancing around. Like, they're just straight up saying, no, it's more money. Like, we don't even act like that's not what it's about anymore. And it used to be like, we'd hear Budsy say things like the game is romantic and I loved it when I was a kid and blah, blah. We don't even hear that anymore. Like, it's just like, they're like, I don't have to lie anymore. It's about money. We're doing this for money. So when it came down to it, it was very clear that's what John wanted to do. Like, there was going to be no owner that was like, hey, no, like, they were just, there's probably 10 guys who are like, yeah, I wanted to vote no, but you didn't. So,
yeah.
And you don't want to step on toes. And there's a whole dynamic there, right? All these guys, and you think there's not like owner cliques and like some of the owners with more money don't talk to the guys with less money. Like, that 100% exists. It's just high school again, probably to some extent. There's some owners that are best friends, some that don't talk to each other at all. So like that exists as well. But from that, understanding all of that, it's just wildly disappointing for the people that watch the team and love the team, because that's what it's supposed to be about. Because it's an entertainment industry. Like, owners of teams, players in the team, staff in the teams, we're not building houses. We're not, growing food. We're entertaining. So the point is for people to be entertained and to kind of just take that away and not really acknowledge those people losing what they love and that they're hurting. That's the part I think I have the biggest problem with, is at least acknowledge, like, it's the same thing. If they said that we're moving the Mets and then didn't acknowledge Mets fans at all, that would be,
that'd be huge.
Can't imagine what that would be like.
There would be riots. There would be total riots, and it's New York. I mean, I feel horrible for Oakland A's fans. I mean, they've lost so many franchises over the last couple of years. I mean, the Raiders, of course, to Vegas, and now the A's. I mean, they'll have one more season at the Coliseum. I hope to God that fans pack that stadium to bits. Just it's so sad to see these people, have their livelihoods. People that worked at the Coliseum for many, many years, they've lost everything because of these owners. It's such a shame, and I really feel for Oakland fans.
Yes, correct. I agree. And we want to commend you, man. And I know a lot of players, they walk a fine line, and you were able to come out and speak as like a representative for the fans that day when you broke the, when you spoke on your streaming, and it was cool to hear, a player's point of view on, how the fans feel, and the workers and everybody that puts the time and effort into making a stadium run. So it was cool to hear you say that as well. Not too many players want to speak and stuff like that on there because they're worried something about the backlash that might come from that. But all the fans, we all think the same way. And it's been talks through baseball, throughout the fan community, even where we're Met fans, but we also have friends that are also fans of different teams, and they were saying the same thing that you were.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And if I could say one thing, even, to take it easy on the fans, try to, this is a message to other fans, try to take it easy on your players when they're not as, like, it doesn't seem like they're in your corner the way you would like them to be while they're playing, because, if you put it, it's the same thing with, like, a lot of people are like, why did Fires not come out while he was on the Astros during the thing? Why did you wait till after? It's because you're in a group of guys, regardless of what they're doing, you're in a group of 26 people, and you don't want to be the one that like undercuts what's going on, even if you don't agree with it. Like, you don't want to be the one that blows something up, because it's you never want to be a distraction. Like, that's the first thing we learn, and it's very hard. It takes a lot of courage to kind of more or less blow your own career up, because that is what will happen, regardless if it's right or wrong. And so players are trying to find the best way to kind of allude to how they feel without being like, F that guy or F this guy or this is stupid or whatever. It's being direct, because it's the nature of everyone else. If you have a job and you know how it is, it's just like, that's how you have to navigate your life sometimes. But I hated that. I really, really disliked having to keep that stuff kind of hidden a little bit more, even though there's been time. If anyone who followed me anywhere knew how you could get through context, like how I would feel about this. This was like, how much do I feel that way? And then that just happened that day. But part of what I went through this year was just like knowing that it was probably the last one. Is I just tried to take the whole. I wanted to enjoy it for the whole thing, all of it. I wanted to sit in the bullpen, even if things aren't going well in the field and we're not winning and someone's struggling or pitching or whatever, and I can look up and see a kid having a good time. Like, that should be the reason. That should be the reason. That's the reason it's been forever. That's the reason it should be now. Like, we do this now, and you can find meaning in that. I was trying to find meaning in that. And so it was a lot of talking to people, hearing them out, and sensing their own frustration with the situation, and having no agency, no control, nothing. Like, just, okay, tell me where to be. And that was something that I was struggling with in my own life. I'm like, I don't like that either. I can only imagine what it's like for you, especially and I make the money I make. What's it like to be making what you're making and thinking, oh, I can't even plan for the future because this is barely enough to even save anything as it is. So how am I supposed to do this? That I can't imagine what that's like. It must be awful. And I feel for them. I feel for them every day.
I mean, it's got to be like that with every franchise that's going through some sort of crisis or whatever. I really, again, I can't imagine what Oakland fans are dealing with right now. And, if you know someone who is an Oakland fan, everybody out there,
reach out to your Oakland fan.
Yeah, please reach out. They really need the help right now. It's just unbelievable. And, it's the nature of the business. And you kind of mentioned, my next question is, why you retired now, but you kind of alluded to the fact that, you wanted to be, you wanted your own control. You wanted, because you can still play. I mean, from what I understand, you could still play. So this was about doing things on your own terms, I would ask.
Yeah. Yes. 100%. That was the biggest thing. Because I think I saw this was like on a YouTube video like last 2 days I watched. I just came up. I don't know if there was an auto playing, and a guy was talking about it was more of a productivity thing, but the first thing he said was like, here's one thing that'll help you feel like you're in control, and that's all your time is yours no matter if you have a job or not. Like, all you're doing is making a decision whether or not you're gonna do the thing based on the the forces at play. So always remember, like, it is your life. Like, you can be done if you're willing to deal with the consequences of what that means. Like, for me, it'd be leaving money on the table, not doing the thing that I've been doing my whole life, change an identity. All these things are like parts of what's going to, if you're able to look at like what's going to happen if I make this decision this way, and you're okay with all of those things, then you can do it. Like,
Yeah.
And I feel like we all feel like we have to do so many things. And like you said it in a way, you're like, you could still play, like, because the natural thing you remember, like everyone says, is I'm going to play until I can't play anymore. Like, I've heard that 1 million times. And I go, why? And they're like, I actually asked that question. I go, why? I think it was Adam Ottavino. He's like, I want to play to 40. And I go, why? And he goes, well, he goes, oh, well, because I want to. Like, he would, but like for a second, he was like, why do I want to play to 40?
There's no real answer to it.
Yeah, there really is.
Because he's got 10 years, he's got all the milestones. He's like, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, I'm like, are you gonna be in the Hall of Fame? He's like, probably not. I'm like, you're going for that? But he, I can't remember. I don't think he has. Does he have a World Series? I don't think he does. So that would be one. Rich Hill. I know Rich Hill wants a World Series. That's a great reason to keep playing. That's an amazing reason to keep playing. That's, if you're very clear on that, just do it. But if you don't have that, if you're like, I'm cool with that, like, then what's the benefit? You're just doing it because someone else thinks you should. And I just said, I'm going to be I don't have a good reason. Like,
yeah.
I'm okay with not getting, because I'm, the pay's only going to go down. I'm going to keep making less every year, no matter how I pitch. I'm not going to add velo probably. So like, it's just the way it probably is. And instead of watching yourself slowly decline to where you go home one year and they're like, yeah, you're gonna let Trevor just be done. I think like the league just decides you're done. And then you're like, oh, well, I was told that I suck. Like I just didn't want to do that. So I decided not to. And it really is that simple.
Gotcha. Yeah, you touched on the topic before about, when you're having a rough game and, the fans are difficult and they're rough on the players. And you said, try to be a little more lenient and easy. There's been a couple of episodes that we've done that I've talked about that, it's no secret the Mets haven't been playing great for a little while now. So, a lot of fans that join the lives and stuff like that, they try to bash sometimes. And, I know, it's tough to deal with when you support a team so much and then they're just not playing to expectations. But what I would say on the show a lot is, you guys forget, yes, they're superstars and they're sports stars, but they're also human beings at the same time. Like, there's moments in our lives, we're regular, everyday people, that things don't go our way and we have a bad day. So imagine you guys, God forbid, something happens in the family, a family emergency, and then you're expected to go out and play at this high level with all this stuff roaming around in your mind is not easy. So there's going to be players that have great days and bad days. You just got to roll with the punches and support your team no matter what. Don't downplay them. Everyone's human. Yeah. And I always say that.
Yeah, of course. I'll be honest. I've especially playing in New York. There was a lot of time I struggled really hard with it because I try to make myself very publicly available. And I went there trying to maintain that. Obviously, I had to change things in a big way because it's just New York's just there's so many more people. Like, there's just 10 times as many people willing to engage with you, which is overwhelming. And if that becomes negative and things aren't going very well, it becomes negatively overwhelming, and it becomes very hard to deal with. And there was a lot of like frustration and anger sometimes with how much grace I was getting. But then it was very hard for me to like have perspective, and it would get I'd be like, come on, just leave me alone. I don't know if I've ever I don't think I've ever told anyone about this, but this was a really eye-opening moment. And it was after I got hurt. So it was a game against the Braves in 22. And I was just, there were a lot going on in my head, and my arm was killing me. And then I finally went on the AL. I gave a couple of runs, and people, like, I got booed off the field. That people didn't know what was going on. So like, I'm trying, like, they don't know, man. Like, you don't get mad at people for being mad at you. They don't know that your arm's about to fall. Like, you can't physically do it. And that was like when you realize I can't do this, like that sucks because all you want to do is you're like, now I got to take some time off. I'm really mad at the situation and how I'm pitching, and then I'm not able to give what I want, and I'm not the person I am. So like I have all these things snowballing, and I'm walking out with my wife, and I'm kind of like, just like frustrated. I'm like, why can't they just like let me like I was like, just leave me alone. Like I'm so tired. My everything hurt. Like I was really really upset, and I was in the parking lot where all the players drive, and I was kind of close to the fence. There was a fan on the other side that heard me and thought I was like MFing fans, which that's not what I was doing. Dude. And so he thought it was like saying it's their fault, blah blah blah. And to be honest, I could see how he would think that. You couldn't hear everything I was saying either because it was kind of grumbly. And my wife was just like, he's like, you're really not happy. And he started mother effing me, and then followed my car for a bit, walked behind me yelling and like stuff. And I was just like, first of all, that guy shouldn't do that. But at the same time, I'm attributing a little bit too much. Like I'm too mad at an external thing. Like it's just not like I shouldn't also be doing what I'm doing either. Like this isn't helpful. And it really like I was like, dude, whoa. It gave me perspective really quickly. And I was like, I need to give like more. Give them more credit, right? Give them more credit. It's like they just love their team, bro. And this is in your head. This stuff's all yours. And that helped. It was like an accepting thing that helped me kind of just let go of like 80% of that like fury. I was like furious at so many things, and I was like, that kind of put it in perspective. And then since I went to Oakland and that whole thing happened, the grace became easier, and then I really appreciated fans, and it gave me a new appreciation for Mets fans. And like that energy is just unparalleled. Like there's just like it's a different type of energy, but like, you know, the Mets, the Yankees, the Phillies, and Boston, they have this inherent energy that they can draw on at any point.
Yes.
And it's different. They're all different in different ways and different like histories and stuff. But if you need energy, you're not going to find more than those probably four places. And I would say the Mets are it's one or two with probably Philly in terms of like energy at all times. And that's awesome. But last little thing, I want to also let fans know how much power they really do have for good, not just for like, you know, letting guys know what you think, but also look at the Trey Turner thing.
Yes.
Like just know that is within your ability. And I believe as a player for the Mets and probably I'm going to have a soft spot forever, and I'm always going to root for the Mets. I really want them to win a World Series, and soon. I really want Steve Cohen to get a World Series because I think it's his lifelong dream to be an owner of a team that wins a World Series, and it takes longer than 3 years usually. So I understand you've been told to be patient for a long time. Be as patient as you want. I'm not here to preach to you that, but what I will say,
you're good.
If you guys decide as a group that you're going to be like, this guy's struggling, and let's see what a standing O does for this guy, and see if that turns around. Let's see if the Trey Turner effect works. See if we can do it. Do it. See what happens. Because what's the worst case scenario? The same stuff happens.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool experiment. Like I love the power that the fans showed. Like Philly fans too, of all fan bases.
Yeah.
Philly fans.
Yeah,
right?
and you would think it'd be the total opposite. I mean, and you were there when the whole thumbs down thing was going on.
Yes,
so I mean, you know what that whole sentiment of the fans and the players, you know what that whole thing is like. And when people do stuff like this with the standing O, this was something like, okay, I know that New York fans will never do this because they're too stuck up in their own ways, but give it a shot.
Yeah.
Give it a mofo shot to give it a shot.
You can say we did that, which is awesome.
And then this would be our chance to get our players motivated enough so they'll start being productive, and playoffs, World Series, who knows?
Magic. It's the magic of it's the turnaround, the magic, the like that they attribute that to a big reason the Phillies went to where they did this year, right? Him turning around was a big reason. So like that's the magic of baseball, and the fans doing it is like even it's even better. But like I do believe that there's so much power to be had. And remember, players, we try to co-opt your energy, good or bad. We do. That's what the thumbs down was. That was us trying to take advantage. We knew we had underperformed, and we were trying to use that energy as like create a chip a little bit amongst ourselves, and we were trying not to make it pointed at anybody. Like we never tried to look into we weren't doing it into the stands on purpose, but we were trying to do it with each other. Like the Yankees have the little one where they do this.
Yeah.
And they I don't know if you noticed, they start doing it when they're struggling because it's their way of being like, come on guys, let's show them who we are. It's like a new motivation because we play every day. You got to find ways to do this stuff. And that's just know that's, we're just trying to harness what you're giving us and then use it to produce. Like that's all we're trying to do all the time. And it may seem like it's shade, and sometimes it might be, but just know that it's trying to use the energy to win the games and turn it around. We're trying to turn it around. That's what we're trying to do.
I mean, now that you're off the field, you're no longer playing. Is there ever a time where you think, okay, maybe I'd like to be a coach. Maybe I'd like to join the broadcast booth? Because I know that you are a natural broadcaster. I mean, we have the same microphone, so we know exactly what we deal with. I mean, now I heard that Dick Bremer is no longer the Twins play-by-play announcer. So is there ever a chance like, hey, Trevor May, the next play-by-play extraordinaire?
I mean, I've obviously these conversations are probably are happening. And it is stuff that is interesting to me, but it's the schedule that comes along with it at this point that I'm not a fan of, because that's the part of the game that I wasn't the biggest fan of. Like the all the time, and I couldn't make any, I couldn't say, nah, I'm good today. I need a day off. I need to stay in the hotel because I'm sick of being here. Like you just can't do that. You're supposed to use your one-off day a month for that. Not hanging out with your family.
Yeah,
decompressing. So it's I never really liked that. So that's very contractual. Like you're gonna do 90 games this year. That and then play by play is just a different beat. Like I shout out to our guy Gary. Like what he truly is. How quick he is and just on top of it all the time, and the way he communicates without stumbling ever is crazy impressive. And I bet you Ron and I bet you
Keith.
Ron and Keith, sorry. GKR, I know this. Ron and Keith will tell you too. They'd be like, yeah, play-by-play is way harder than color. Way harder. Like he just alley-oops us and we just had to throw it down. He's the one throwing the passes all the time, though. That's hard to stay on top of. So I don't know if that is what I would like to do. But coaching, I like teaching. I really like teaching. I love talking ball. I love having problems to solve. I love figuring out how the puzzle pieces fit together. That is what pitching has become, which has made it more fun for me. And then I took that out there when there was no clock, and then when the clock happened, then it wasn't a puzzle anymore. It was just checkers. And so that was something I struggle with. But I think that there is going to be some sort of coaching, consulting, mentoring situation going on, and how that looks. I have some ideas of maybe doing it a little bit of a different way and maybe reaching more people or working one-on-one with guys that aren't necessarily affiliated with the team. But I mean, I'm even like GM sounds kind of cool, except for you have a boss that is dictating what you need to do and how much money you have all the time. And that is not my lane. That is not something I would even remotely enjoy. And I think that would take away the joy of building something great if you don't have that rapport with an owner. So it had to be like a best friend owner, which I don't have one of those. I don't know if owners like me very much right now. So maybe that's not going to be really my future, but it is very interesting to me. And I know that at least the work of that would be something that I would enjoy doing.
Of course.
Now, if you could go back in time and face one batter or change a pitch in a certain situation, if you could think, who would that be?
Face one bat. I would love to face Barry Bonds. I want to know. I want to know if I can get him to swing and miss.
Yeah, because he doesn't do that much.
I just want to know
Sorry.
how scary it would be, because I've faced Trout a lot and Ohtani bunch, and the giants of this game, right? Like Acuna and all these guys, like faced them a lot. And Harper tons. Like I was constantly facing the guys in the lineup, and how would that differ? What would it look like in the box? He's a monster. honestly, though, now that what do we know? How do we know? Now that we know what we know about like carry versus sink versus break versus this versus that, like finding where he doesn't handle things is, I'm sure he's going to be like Soto, and there's not much there, but there's probably something, and there's probably something you could try to go for. And I don't think they knew. I think that his intimidation just completely wiped that stuff out. Guys were just like, just don't pitch to him. And as a pitcher and a competitor, I just do not accept that. I don't care who it is. So that would be awesome. Tony Gwynn, though, no way. He just foul pitches off and then hit a single middle and back. Well,
there you go.
That is exactly what everyone thought would happen, and it happened again. I'm a strikeout guy. I would not strike out Tony Gwynn. There's no way.
Now, who did you? Go ahead, Hirsh. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. No, I actually think this brings up a good point. We have our junior reporter Camren, who couldn't be here today, who would like to ask you a question. And speaking of facing batters and stuff, here's Cam with his question.
Hey Trevor, it's Amazing Camren here, and I have one question. Who is the toughest batter you ever faced?
Toughest batter I've ever faced. So guys that I struggle with, and I did my whole career, Josh Donaldson absolutely destroyed me. just absolutely killed me. Now I didn't face him after he joined the Twins. So take that with a grain of salt. I know that he's a different guy now. But
right, so
the 14, 15, 15 years, it was double homer. Like, I think he's 4 doubles and a homer. He's 5 for 6. So he just destroyed me. Heaters up. We're the thing I had, and that's the thing he crushed. Altuve has given me fits. I cannot get him out. Yan Gomes owns me, which I didn't know until this year, but he's like 5 for 8 with a homer. But like just in terms of preparation, Soto is very hard to prepare for. He's just really good. Harper's really good, hard to prepare for. Arias is just a nightmare. He's just a nightmare to pitch to. And I've only pitched him in live BPs, but like I was throwing him absolute bastard pitches and he's just fouling them off. And you're just like, I'm giving you everything I got. But probably the big ones, the ones who like taught me, hey, you got to figure something out or you're not going to be in the big leagues very long, were like Miggy Cabrera, Victor Martinez, and JD Martinez back to back to back. Those three guys. Those 3 guys, and then like the center of the Kansas City lineup. So maybe I'm talking about a specific team, but like 2015 Kansas City of Locane, Hosmer, Moustakas, and a Cetus. Like I just couldn't get anyone to swing and miss, and that makes it very hard on me. So those guys were really tough on me too. So like teams that don't strike out. So prime Miggy, 2014 Miggy. He stepped in the box. I'm like, that's Miggy Cabrera. I'm on the big league. This is crazy. This is insane. And he what he hit, like I think he hit like 42 homers with like 140 RBIs that year. Some insane. Yeah, he was just saying. And they also had Torrey Hunter, Ian Kinsler. Like that team was just so good. So yeah, but B-Mart was probably the hardest guy to even get to foul ball off. He was either taking it because it was 1 inch off or hitting an absolute missile.
Now, is there any batter that you faced that you would own every time without a question?
Mike Napoli.
Mike Napoli.
Napoli. 0 for 8 with 7 strikeouts.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then Gino Suarez, I think he's 1 for 13 with 8 strikeouts.
Wow.
So, and I think like I hit him once recently, but I think it's like he's like 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts his last 6 ABs. So that was, he's a great player, but
that is
he's one like everyone's
unbelievable. Cam has another question for you, and I think this differs between a bunch of different players, but here's what Cam thinks.
Hey Trevor, I have one more question. Are you a sunflower seeds guy or a gum guy?
I'm both, but gum is the part of my routine more than seeds. Seeds was like, I want to switch it up, but yeah, always 2 pieces of gum, the flavored double bubble. It would be 1 watermelon, 1 green apple combined every day before throwing. Get the same 2 pieces of gum. Then I go out in the bullpen during the game, same thing. And then right when I'm done pitching, I'd always come out and just throw 2 pieces of gum, and it was like my way of
calming yourself down.
Calm myself down, get a little sugar. By the way, double bubble gum has so much sugar in it. Like, do not look it up. Just
I'll keep away from that.
oh
Yeah,
my
thank God.
it's like 12 grams per piece or something. It's
Damn.
something insane. It's crazy how much sugar is in there.
Oh man, I mean, I'm not a C's guy. I'd be a gum guy. I'd be big league chew and all that stuff when I played. I'd always be the grape guy. I'd always now they make all these different flavors. Now they make like blue raspberry and watermelon. Like, where were these flavors when I was growing up? All we had was the
grape
normal
and regular.
Yeah, grape and regular. That was it. Like, what the hell?
Crazy. Oh, also, we wanted to congratulate you too on your 500 career strikeouts, man.
That's right. Yeah, 500. I mean, that's something that not a lot of people can say that they had. I mean, it as you mentioned before, there are people that say, "Oh, I want to play till I'm 40. I want to play till my arm falls off." There are some people that just want to make it to the big leagues.
Yeah.
Not only did you do that for 9 years, but you struck out a ton of people, over 500 people. So, I mean, that's an achievement of itself. And, good on you, brother.
Thank you.
I could never do it. My arm,
right?
My arm would be just rubber.
Yeah, it is. It hurts.
Now, you've always worn number 65. Is there's like a significance to the number? Is it like a special number to you, or?
It got significance when it became my rookie number. And then I had this realization that I'm like, yeah, this number is probably going to be available on any team I'm on. And if it's not, it's probably like a rookie and they got to give it to me. So like, I'm not going to have to pay for this wherever I go. That was what I thought about. And I kind of gave up on this is my number thing in the minors when like every year I just whatever the biggest jersey was. It was very much like little league football for me. They're like, yeah, you're number 98 because that's the biggest jersey we have. So like that's kind of how I was always like 55, 57, and none of those were like my number. I tried to go with 51, but like Randy Johnson, Ichiro, like let's go. And then there was always a 51 on the team I was on, and I think it was always someone big. Like we had like Irvin Santana. Like I'm not going to get it from Irvin, right? And then, who was? And then I think one of the coaches was 51 in the Mets. So I'm like, there's no way. Like I can't get it from a coach. And I got 65 from Gesellman, who was like, not only he was about to pay me to take it. He's like, I don't want this is an awful number. You can have it. He's like, can I have 44? And I remember asking Kirsty, the head clubhouse guy, I'm like, can he have 44? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I got it for you. He's like, oh, thank you. And just gave it to me for free. So and then there was no 65 on the A's. There's lots of 60s, but no 65. So I just kept it because of my rookie number. And it's pretty cool. There's actually a little bit of a anecdote about that, or Easter egg. I started the game against Paxton in Seattle in 15, and it was the first time two number 65 started the game against each other.
Oh, wow.
So I believe he kept 65 the whole time too. So and we threw each other this last offseason, so that was pretty interesting. But yeah, like first time in history to 265 started a game. He-Man and Paxton.
Nice, nice.
I have a couple firsts that I was part
there
of. So
you go. Cool. There you go. There's always that. And you mentioned this on Twitter the other day. There was a poster outside Citi Field, and you said that it's your face, but it's not your body. It's Seth Lugo's body. How the hell did they get away with that?
So so this is really interesting. So in 21, my banner was closer to the clubhouse entrance, so I could see it. It was like 4 or 5 down. Like that's me, very obviously. And it was like me with my hands down, and like that's like get my sign. I'm like, that's what I do. And then in 2022, I'm like, where's my banner? And I was like, I can't see it from here, and it's way down at the end. So I posted yesterday. It's funny because 22, me and Seth were next to each other. And it's both Seth's body, which is hilarious. But I'm like, I'm looking and it's like, I think I see 65, I'm like, I can't really see it. And I'm like, but that's Seth's delivery. Like, that's not my delivery, but it says, and he was 67. So I'm like,
right.
It's probably Seth. I can't really see. So I asked my wife, I said, if you see my banner, I haven't seen my banner. I want to get a picture of it. She said, cool. So that night she just took a picture of it. She didn't see the thing. She wasn't even taking it for that. She was like, oh yeah, I see it. It's right there. I'm like, that is Seth's body. She goes, how do you know that? I go, Wilson glove, I Rawlings glove. So he's a Wilson glove. That's Seth's glove. And he had an Adidas his Adidas cleats he wore every day. I'm like, those are his cleats and that's his glove. And his hands are up here. That's not, my hands are never up there. So like, this was obviously photoshopped on, and then he's 67, so it'd be easy to just Photoshop a 5 on there. And they did. And then his was definitely him throwing. Like when he threw, it was his motion for him. So I was like, I wonder if like, for whatever reason, like my photos were just like not formatted right, or if it was in the wrong direction, or flipping, if there was something up and they were time constrained. So like, I want to be very clear. I'm not mad at anybody. I'm like, who at intern messed this up? It's actually like, this is the type of stuff that is very me, and I love it. I think it's hilarious. Like that would happen to me, and I'm glad that it did, so that I can post about it and we can laugh about it together. And I'm like, I almost like wonder, like, did like an intern like make this and like try to sneak it in to see if he could get away with it, and they just missed it. And it's like, it's actually an Easter egg. They're like, you caught it. That is Seth, but you got it. Here's your prize. Like, was this a joke? Did they do it on purpose? Because that's even better. I hope so. If you did, if you're out there and you hear this, please tweet at me and say, I did that on purpose. That was me. I threw it in the Google Drive, and I didn't think they would choose that one, and they did. And it's really funny. They were bored one day and Photoshopped me. Let's just say that did happen. Yes. Let's
make this a big game, a big scavenger hunt. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I noticed it. And then I just came across the photo. I was like, I've never talked about this. This is so funny.
That's
Maygate. That's what we
now you have straight out of high school, right? Did you ever think about wanting to play for college?
Actually, I had decided to play to college and to actually go to University of Washington. I was like, Dad, I think I want to go. And he's like, you and let me. And at that point I hadn't drafted, and then also we had a bonus, kind of like all I had to do is sign, so we had it all negotiated. So he's like, let me just run the numbers for you. And he literally like was like, this is how much money that is. This is for scale. Do you want to play professional baseball? I was like, yes, I absolutely do. He's like, are you going to go to University of Washington to try to play professional baseball? I said, yeah. He goes, if you were going to be drafted after junior year, would you leave school to go do it? I'm like, yeah. He goes, why not just do that now?
Yeah,
like,
go straight. Yeah,
like, because it's far away. It's so far, and I don't want to be away. Seattle's right there, and that's Clearwater's way over there. And I did it, and I was just the most homesick I ever been for 6 weeks. It was very, very hard that first year, but I'm glad I did it. And I learned to be an adult quickly, take care of yourself very quickly, living in the La Quinta. So, yeah, I really wanted to go to, I love school too. And I love University of Washington. I love the area. But it all worked out because then I got to just come home in the off seasons, which were in the middle of the school year. And all my friends went there, and I just lived up on the campus. I met my wife there. She was in a sorority. I met her at a frat party. I was pretending to be in a frat. So like none of that would have happened probably. So,
actually, a question from one of our female viewers was that you've been married for quite some time right now, and they want to know, how did you meet your wife, and what made you know that she was the one that you wanted to marry?
Yeah, pumpkin carving rabbit date. I was considered, even though I was 21 at the time, just turned 21, I was considered a pledge. And so they sent me on the pledge thing. So like they're like, hey, the freshmen are gonna go, because they, I don't know if you know what a grab date is, but you got to go walk around to sororities and just knock on the door. Be like, anyone will come over and hang out. And you kind of go to the people you know. But it was the fourth sorority we went to. We got turned down by everyone. They were like, and I just closed it. Like, well, you learn to get, that's how they're teaching you how to get rejected. And then we go. They have some friends there. And my wife she's 2 years younger than me, so she was a freshman at the time. I would have been a junior. And they were just like, you guys want to come? Sure. She was the first one to come to the door. And I just remember being like, that's interesting. I'm interested in that one. I'm interested in her. And it's funny because the guys I was with, they all had they had friends that they had in mind. So like no one knew her. So she was like the new one, and I was the new one. So kind of just like naturally, we went pumpkins, and then we just hit it off, and that's just, I lived up there, and we spent a lot of time together, and we just started dating, and then she was just cool about the long distance thing, which is usually the big red flag. Then she came to visit a couple times, saw what life is like, and then she just she's just really independent. It was just she had no problem, she trusted me, and that's just the way it worked out. And then she came to live with me a few years ago, right after we got married, and here we are, 7 years later. We just had our 7-year anniversary 4 days ago.
So, oh wow! Congratulations!
Thank you.
Awesome.
I mean, you know, it really is just like one of those small world things, really. I mean, you know, I was never into, you know, the Greek life sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I lived across the street from a frat house, you know, when I went to school at University of Oswego. But you know what? It was actually fairly quiet over there. Maybe it was because the bars were all down. No, but all the bars were downtown, so everybody was downtown. So
okay. It's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone, but
yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So, you know, now that you know you're fresh out of the big leagues and everything, you've done your time in New York, you've done your time in Minnesota, you've done your time in Oakland. You know, as Mets fans, we want to know what your impressions of Queens were. How were the fans when they were being nice? you know, because New York fans and the media can be very relentless, and that's we try not to be, you know, because we're regular everyday people. You know, we want to be as positive as we can, you know. As a fan, you know, from mano a mano, you know, it's got to be one of the most rewarding things to, you know, ever just step out onto Citi Field, taking that air, you know, and just I like coming to Citi Field when there's like no music playing, when it's nice and quiet, when you just see the grounds crew come out and, you know, do their work, you know, before all the madness kicks in. What were your impressions of coming to the park every day?
All of those things, man. It's really a baseball. Like it really is it has all the best things about a baseball game. There's always a lot, like you were always sharing it with a lot of different people. So I can only imagine like what it was like to meet other people that were as passionate as you. Like it feels like one of those places where there's new friendships we made all over the place. Right. And yeah, a lot of times it's through the struggle. I understand. You know, the quote unquote suffering Mets fan, and there's a lot of connection there happening. And if that brings people together, I mean, that's a silver lining. But yes, it's a beautiful park. They're putting, you know, they put tons of money into it. They've made adjustment after adjustment to make it a great place to watch a game, great place to play. The energy there is like I said, unparalleled. It's one of those things like, yeah, it sucks to struggle there. It like you want to do your best all the time, but like, yeah, you can get punished a little bit more than you would somewhere else. That's just the way it is. But the other side of that coin is when you're doing well, like I'm just looking at like the way that Sugar Diaz's career has changed from that first year to 2022. He's beloved. Like he's your guy, and he should be your guy. And that whole thing that I would come out of even when I didn't pitch, come out of the thing to listen to the trumpets and be outside, not in the little room back there. Cause it was one of the most unique things there is in sports, watching him run out in his little really slow jog that he does. So like, it's just electric, you know, and the field is great. The grounds crew is great. All the ushers are awesome. Seeing the same guys, seeing Dom and Joe and all the guys in the parking lot, like every day is one of my favorite things. So like, it was a wonderful place to play. And if you go look it up, I have not pitched anywhere better. I've not pitched better anywhere than Citi Field in my career. I think I have like a 2.88 or something career in that field, which is very, very good in my opinion. And I'm very proud of that. And it's the most successful I've ever been on a field. Yeah. In 2022, my struggles were on the road. That's what the thing, but I still threw pretty well at home. So it's just like, that's a testament to the people. That's a testament to the energy. That's a testament to the fan base. Like you're very easy to get up for. I never needed energy. Like I never needed to go deeper. I was never like, oh, I don't have any adrenaline today. That was never a problem. And that is a huge, and you guys are the reason why. So I loved it. You know, it was really hard at times, but that was all my relationship with what I was looking for, what I needed. And I think that if I went back, that it would be, I would, if I were still playing and went back and played there again and did it over again with what I know, that I would have enjoyed it even more and been a lot just more open to kind of the way things are. But yeah, it's, it can be shocking when you first go, and it takes work to get used to it. But there is a way for you to use it and really enjoy yourself every single day there, even when things aren't going as well. So that's what I was trying to do. I didn't quite get to where I wanted to get to, but towards the end of that 2022 season, and that was a really easy team to buy into. So let me be very clear about this. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. So that's just, there's just no, with how it is there, there's just no reason that there's not going to be a magical run sooner rather than later, in my opinion. It just needs to just happen. Like, it's just one of those things that's just going to happen. You guys are going to look up and be like, oh, wow, we're like one game away from the World Series. Like, it's actually happening. Like, that's just what's going to happen. You're going to project it. You're not going to like see it coming. You're just going to be like, oh, it's us. It's us this time. Kind of like how 2015 probably happened a little bit.
I can believe it. I can believe it.
It's going to happen.
Well, you got to make sure you come back and visit so you can get your standing ovation.
Oh,
yeah.
We'll see how that goes. It's funny. In 2022, Jerry Blevins went he's trying to be low key. Like, really, he was like, please don't put me on the board because I just do not want to get booed. And he got cheered. And he was like, you could see it on his face. He's like, oh, I didn't know you guys. I thought you were going to be. I thought you guys didn't like me as that much.
I think I was in the stands that day.
And I'm like, Jerry, you're Jerry Blevins. Like, everyone loves Jerry Blevins. Like, you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, why would anyone be mad at you, Jerry? Like, you were a lefty reliever. Like, you and I, we didn't have enough impact on enough games. Like, we couldn't ruin stuff enough. So just don't worry. Don't worry about it, man. And you did good work, and you're a good dude, and you're fun to listen to. So of course I like. But it was just funny for him to be like, and everyone be like, yeah. And he was like, hey, yeah, it's me, Jerry. I'm here. So that would be cool. But then again, if I go and that happens and it's like both, I'm getting both, I think that would be even better.
I'd be getting both boos and cheers.
I'd like lean into it, like, thank you. So yeah, that'd be great. So yeah, I'd definitely go into a game. I got my gold card, bro. Gotta go to games.
There, yeah, you just said you got the gold card.
Yeah. I was just going to ask you that as well. Did you get the gold card?
I did. I have it. I physically have it now. It's really cool. Really cool. Making sure that I know where it is, because I do not want to have to ask them for another one. But yeah, they got it to me. Yeah. I got to check in on Taiwan and McCann, because we all got them like within a week of each other, like at the time.
Oh, really?
But it took me like a year and plus to get some. I wonder if Ty because Ty was closer and he was going to New York a lot, so maybe he went and picked it up. But I don't know if McCann got it. I don't know. I gotta ask him. You guys got your card?
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, you were mentioning, seeing all the same ushers, all the same people every day. I mean, we got our own people. I mean, I see Roy all the time. Roy sees me. I see Teddy all the time. I love Teddy. Nancy and MJ, I see them all the time. The 7 line people. And
7 line.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I see these guys all the time. I love these guys.
Well, yeah, that's basically how Friends of Flushing came about, really. Like what you described before. It's like, fans coming together, whether they're playing well or they're not. That's how Friends of Flushing started. Like, it was a bunch of, like, I would go to these games and I would see the same people all the time, and we're cheering, then we're upset, then we're cheering. And then we'll just be like, you know what? Let's just go get a burger from Shake Shack, and we're talking, and it just all became like a small family of Met community. So, and this was brought to us all traveling to Flushing, Queens. So we all became Friends of Flushing. So I love it. I would never change it. I enjoy being at the stadium. It's fan friendly. It's for the families. It's just a good time all around.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it's for. For. I'm so glad that you guys have that. Great.
Absolutely. And our relationship, when we meet players, because we've met a bunch of players, and we've, always had the same reactions, like, wow, you guys are actually nice. Yeah. I mean, I'm always that guy who always wants to root on people, even if they're at their lowest, and because again, people need to understand at the end of the day, yes, the fans are somewhat paying their salaries.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're human. They're human beings. They have emotions. They have feelings. We saw with Wilmer Flores in 2015 when he thought he was going to get traded. He obviously did not want to get traded, so that's why he was crying on the field.
Yeah.
You know,
Emotion, human emotion. Those exist.
And exactly. I mean, and at the same when we lost Jose Fernandez the following year, I mean, everybody understood what grief was like, and yet they continued on. They showed their strength by playing the game as Jose would have wanted it to, and granted they killed us, but I think at Miami deserved that win. They deserved that win.
Yeah.
We deserve that loss because they were playing against the Mets, but
yeah, you just that was a day you had no chance.
Yeah, no chance.
You just were not going to beat them. Like they were the Skaggs thing, then the no hitter the next day.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah.
Things keep happening, and there's something to it, and that's the magic of the sport, I believe.
Absolutely.
100%. Why it's great.
So I think Roy, you've got some rapid fire questions for him, right?
Okay, yeah. So we just got 6 questions real quick. I'm just gonna say your and then you just answer. So we got favorite food.
Sushi.
Favorite ice cream.
Strawberry.
Good choice.
Jeans or sweatpants?
Say that one again.
Jeans or sweatpants?
Sweats.
Sweats. Your favorite TV show?
Oh, favorite TV show. That depends on the time. Of all time, Met Your Mother.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Favorite sports movie? I believe I know this one already.
That's a tough one too. Sandlot.
Sandlot.
Yeah,
What's your favorite part in Sandlot?
Say it again, sir.
Favorite part in Sandlot?
Favorite part in Sandlot. When Smalls doesn't know who Babe Ruth is, or the s'mores.
Yeah, the s'mores.
Or what?
I like the Squints Wendy Peppercorn scene. That's
it's pretty much always Squints. I think the best moment in the movie is the kiss, or it's when Squints goes shh, and then there's that long pause after it. I'm like, why is this so long? Why is he doing this so slowly? But it makes me laugh every time.
And then we have home cooked meal, or you rather eat out?
Home cooked is always better. DoorDash has got me there. You forget how great freshly made food is. But just there's a couple restaurants where I'm like, that beats my home cooked no matter what. I love that place. But for the most part, nothing beats a freshly made just basic, like something like a crock pot meal or like a really great soup or something. Like I'm just like, this is the dream right here.
Gotcha. And then we just have your favorite season.
My favorite season, I would say the 2019 season for the Twins. The 307 homers. That was also like myself, Tyler Duffy, and Taylor Rogers kind of all took a step forward in our career, and we became a really good bullpen. It was a very Cleveland style, like got a bunch of homegrown guys that were just like, oh, everyone was like, oh, the Twins bullpen is actually like really good. Like, this is crazy. So that was when I knew, like, I'm not only am I established, but I'm like, I'm a good player, could be an elite. That's when it became real for me. So that kind of informed the rest of and then I came back from Tommy John, and I was down for a year and a half before that. In 18, I only threw 28. So it was like a kind of I'm back situation.
All right. And then we also have who is your favorite pitcher to watch?
Favorite pitcher to watch at the moment was Matt Brash.
Wow.
Just wow. I would say it's a guy like Devin or Josh Hader or like one of these other closers, but like they just have been doing it for so long without any real adverse. They're like, oh, I got a 1-6 again. Like, so watching Brash like kind of come be a new one version of that, like he's kind of giving me like New Dellin vibes. Like he's gonna punch 2 per inning. He's just gonna, because he's disgusting. And then every hitter's like, his slider doesn't make physical like sense. Like if the physics of it make no sense to us, and we cannot hit it. And whenever anyone has a pitch like that, I'm like, tell me more. I'll watch him. So I did my nasty pitches video the other day, and it was like 7.
Yeah, I did see that
from Brash.
And also, go ahead, Hirsh. I'm sorry.
I think I remember. Before we talked today, I did see. I think it was your worst curveball you ever threw was to Dom Smith.
Yeah, last curveball I ever threw in a game.
So that was it. That was actually the last curveball you ever threw.
I threw it and I was like, "Yeah, that is dead. It's gone." Because I was throwing a different slider. I was throwing like a gyro slider that had a bunch of depth, and then like literally, I went and talked to Josh Kalk, the head of analytics. I was like, "What do you got metrically on this slider?" He's like, "That thing is disgusting. You better throw that every day." I was like, "All right, curveball." You suck. And then it became a weapon. I had like a 60% whiff rate on it for this year. So it's like, and then I had like a 6% whiff rate on it last year. It was the same pitch. So I'm like, things are changing. Sweeper. It's had a sweeper to get swing and misses, and that worked. But
all right, wow.
Stuff happens so fast, get too old, and that's why I'm retired.
There you go. And I can focus more on your Twitch channel. I am Trevor May.
And talk about other guys who are making adjustments, but not have to actually do it.
There you go.
Yeah. Do you ever play as yourself on like MLB The Show or whatever?
All the time. I have a franchise where I made all of my streamer friends, like the whole team. It's just created players, streamer friends, edited players, and then I created them physically. And I made myself again from scratch. It looks nothing like me. It's very hard to do that. But I'm a starting pitcher. I'm our ace. The way that I would pitch if I were a starter. And then I have there's a guy who loves the Mets. His name's Chilled Chaos, and he's a big Twitch streamer, and I made him one of our starting pitchers too. And he's got Tom Seaver's delivery.
Oh, nice!
But he's like a sinker cutter guy, like a Holiday guy. So he's like 91, 92, and just paints. And I throw cheese at the top of it, like I'm like DeGrom. No one could touch me.
I think when I created my player, I actually liked being more of like an R.A. Dickey, so I'm a big knuckler.
Okay.
Like throwing the knuckleball, like the slow, the spin, and it just boom, and just sinks. I guess when they put Kodai's Ghost Fork into the game, that's gonna be like the pitch that I would want.
He's got one. I guess Logan Gilbert has one now too.
Oh, geez. So Kodai is starting a trend, and I guess hopefully when
Yamamoto?
Hopefully, Yamamoto comes to the Mets. Oh man, if he comes to the Mets. Yeah, good.
You get Yamamoto. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah, good. Goodbye, doubts. Goodbye, sorrow. Right? I don't know.
Yeah. Having those two guys would be great.
We hope.
we can only hope. Man.
You can afford them.
So, also, I see that you're into a little bit of photography as well.
Getting into it, yeah. Starting to.
How's that working out for you?
Dude, great. I'm learning so much about my cameras. I've had these cameras at least I've had the one that I do the vlogs on, and I'm learning about the different settings and different ways to like color grade and make it just look more professional, frame rates and all this stuff. So cinematography is actually what I want to do the film side of things mostly, but the photography is like the first, like you learn a lot of the principles through just taking pictures. So you can just walk around and just take pictures of stuff and then see how you can get the effect you want. That's what I've been doing. Haven't shared a lot, but I have thousands of photos. And I actually during the season I was able to pick up a Leica from a photography friend of mine who I met through Twitch, which was random, and he was selling it. Leicas are, if you don't know, are just very they're very kind of bougie cameras, but they're very point and shoot. So they're expensive, but like you don't need to know. You can just auto, and they have the best auto features in the it's beautiful every time. You don't have to edit the photos. So I took that around, like when I go on the road, I just walk around with a hotel or walk around the Central Park or wherever it is, and then just get a bunch of pictures so that I remember what it was like to be there. And it was also practice. And then I take pictures of like from center field, of the bullpens, of the dugout, of like the guys warming up, all kind of stuff, just so I have them as memory. So I have tons of those, which will probably, when the season starts up, I'll like release probably a big like batch of like, you can see a bunch of photos I took, because some of them are terrible because I didn't know what I was doing, but then I started to get like how to get cool effects, and so they got better. But yeah, it's going well. I'm enjoying it, and I'm implementing the things better. I think my quality of my content's getting a little bit better, and now I'm going to start messing around with gimbals and different angles and having several camera angles and all kind of stuff. So it's it's moving. It's again, a new thing to learn, and that's my wheelhouse.
I love messing around with gimbals. Those are so much fun to play with. Oh man. So Trevor, before we go, I mean, we got to promote the Twitch channel. You're streaming today as we're taping this, right?
As of right now, yes. I have a DM right now with my friends that I usually play with. They're talking about what they're playing, so we'll see what time we start. But yeah, I'll probably be streaming today.
Awesome stuff. Again, Trevor, it's been an absolute joy to have you on our show. I mean, we've been looking forward to this for a long time, and we've spoken with prospects on the show. We've spoken with, players that are currently on, and we spoke with Mets alumni and stuff like that. But stuff like this was something we could only dream of weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, great. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me, man. It's been a pleasure.
And of course, yeah. Oh, go ahead, Roy.
No, I was just saying, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you joining us here at Friends of Flushing. Hirsh, I wasn't sure if you had the questions from Dro or not.
Oh yeah, I did have a couple of questions, but you kind of answered them anyway. Okay. But I will. Let's see. We'll play this one real quick.
All right, Trevor. Drodo here from Amazing Met Zone. Definitely been thinking to ask you this question for a while here. So it's a bottom of the eighth. You got one out. You got the bases loaded. You're coming in. The inning's not clean. How do you collect your thoughts to go into that, to not be overwhelmed in that situation?
That is a wonderful question. And it's, I love being asked that, because that was the ability to strand those runners is something that I've been extremely proud of for my career. And it was something I really focused on. It comes down to having a really good idea of the guy you're about to face. So like feeling confident that I know what I'm doing right now, and I know that guy. And because you're able to project it when that situation comes up, like, who you're getting ready for. And so you have some time to go over it with your bullpen coach. Like we talked about this before, but refresh me in this guy. It's got to be a strikeout, probably, or a pop up in the infield or something. Like we want to keep these runs from scoring. So we're going to stay away from damage. I was very clear about my goal. Like I knew what I was trying to accomplish. And once you're clear about that, that takes 50% of the, if I blow this, then these things are going to happen. And then for some reason in that situation, I was always able to I always called it corner animal mode, but like once the phone rings, you're in there, you're like, this is a very hard situation to execute. Think about how good it's going to be to do it. And like, you can't be hard on yourself because you're not being put in a position to be successful. Like you're going to have to step up. So it's an opportunity now. It's not a crappy situation that you're getting thrown into. It's an opportunity to do something that people might not be expecting. And then as soon as I made that connection in my head, just the stakes weren't like, it wasn't life or death. It was more like, I accept whatever's going to happen. And most guys won't admit to this, but then there's a little part of it being like, these aren't my runs. That sounds selfish, but if that's something you have to say to your head to like take some of the away, then do it. Like if you have to think that to take some of this away, you don't want to let them score, because obviously you want to pick your teammate up also. But like right. You're more likely to do it if you think that. So sometimes I didn't need to do that all the time, but sometimes I was like, what's the worst going to happen? You're going to probably catch someone else's runs. That sucks. But we, like just go pick them up and don't even worry about it. Whatever happens. And then before you know it, you're just in it. You just do it. You're just there. There's no thinking left. And yeah, I think that I looked this actually up, and this might be me tooting my own horn, but I'm going to do it. But since 2019, I think I was like second in all of baseball in inherited runners scored rate. So like I only allowed 15% of my inherited runners to score for 5 years, which is a very low number. You're lucky if you do that 1 year. I think it was me and Brent Suter of all people.
Oh wow.
But he inherits so many runners. It's crazy how many runners he comes in with based on his role. So, but yeah, that was something, when I'm looking at a reliever that's not a closer, I look at their inherited runner rate. Because that's a direct correlation with what this process is like. Some guys are great, right? They're great. They have great years every year. They're amazing. For whatever reason, they cash all the runners in.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
That's all it is.
Like here's another really interesting one, just real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
If you want, go look at the difference between me and Edwin Diaz with 3-0 counts. So how often I come back from 3-0 and strike a guy out, and how often he walks a guy in 4 straight. It's crazy. Like he's 3-0, he almost walks him every time because he's like, all right, next guy, because he knows he's gonna strike the next dude out. So like it's a different. And me, I'm always like, I had walk problems when I was younger. So I was like, I'm coming back. And that was a mindset thing. I would do this on purpose. Like, I'm coming back to punch this guy out. And so me having that thought made me do it all the time. He doesn't think that because he doesn't need to. So like the way we think about it, we're completely different when it comes to that stuff. And it's really interesting because there's a lot of those. But look it up. It's like his rate of coming back 3-0 for a strikeout is like 3%. And mine's like 40. It's like really different. And I saw that like last year or something. I was like, whoa, Nolan Ryan 3-0 hit batters. It's a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine that being quite a bit.
It is a lot because he was leading the league every year in walks. So he's like, I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
I'm just going to hit 35 guys.
And look what that happened.
Yeah. And now he's like got the all-time lead in that too, which is really funny.
Oh man! Again, Trevor, thank you so much again for joining us. Be sure to. Oh, you got something, Roy?
Yes. One last thing if there's anything that you can say to the Mets organization and the fans, what would it be?
Ooh. I'm trying not to say something generic, like stay strong. But like instead I'll say stay strong. You get like Stern. I think Stearns is big. I'm very excited for you guys and him. Like I really am, because I think that guy's got his philosophy and his system dialed in. So like just know that because he was part of the hiring process for Mendoza, there's a good chance that Mendoza gets it too. So you're in good hands. Him mixed with Gary Cohen. He's also a local guy, which is big. He knows what it's like. He's, like there's not a better guy available, I don't think, for that organization. So, but remember, it might not be right now.
No,
so
we're not expecting that.
But like, don't be surprised in 2-3 years if you have one of those, like with the Francisco Lindor leadership. Hopefully Pete gets resigned with the guys you have, plus like a young crew that they've getting through trades or something. There's a few younger guys, homegrown talent, and you get that other core going, and then they're going to connect with each other. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to see some 2022 again, but I think in a more sustainable way, like in a dynasty, win the division every day, like a Braves type of way right now, which I hate to say the Braves right at the end, but
it's not, but
can't deny what they've done. Like
there are some Mets fans. There are some Mets fans right now that their mouths are watering at the sight of Stearns. I'm hopeful. I'm not expecting a dynamite year in 2024. I'm expecting a good year, but nothing like a major playoff contender. But yeah, as you said, 2-3 years from now, big time. Yeah.
Every time you see a bright spot or something that's like a sustainable success thing, you see a guy take a step forward who's going to be on your team and controlled for a while, just like relish those, because that's going to compound it. That's just how it happens. Like you just get 5 of those guys and then you look up and you're just killing everybody. You're like, wow, this is great. Can we get some team friendlies up in here, please? That's and then once you do that, then you have the core that the Braves have. Like but the talent's there. Just gotta happen.
Yeah, the players got.
Yeah, just believe.
You gotta believe. Oh man.
So for joining us, this was a pleasure for us. It really was.
Pleasure, man. My pleasure.
Of course. So we'll see you guys next week for another week of Friends of Flushing. Don't miss it.